The one thing that's making me enjoy this conversation is the fact that we can actually educate or at least point out what somebody might be missing when they talk about the PC platform. I have to say, there's been a lot of marketing efforts for many years that has been done to make console gamers actually believe that there's something special about a console in the traditional sense, limiting the access of the console and marketing it as something that is so great has pretty much stuck in the minds of a lot of people. They truly believe that this is the case, even when you try to tell them otherwise. So I can see why people are asking, is it an Xbox? It's not an Xbox. Some people are saying you're trying to convince everybody it's an Xbox and all of the above. But the problem with a lot of people that are telling me that I'm trying to convince everybody it's an Xbox is not a single one of them is trying to go ahead and refute my claims. The reason they can't refute my claims is very simple. Number one, we already have precedents for a brand making their own gaming PC using other people's components and branding it, and we all agreeing and saying, yes, this is Dell's gaming PC called Alienware. We didn't argue with Dell. We didn't argue with HP. We didn't argue with Lenovo either. Lenovo even went ahead and made a handheld. We didn't argue. They made a handheld with Steam. We didn't argue with them either. Then freaking Cyberpower, I almost said Cyberpunk, and everybody else is doing that and has been doing that, and we never argued with them. In fact, the new kid on the block, Starforge PCs or Starforge systems, they're also doing the exact same thing, and nobody argued with them. In fact, they'll sell you a device and they'll call it a Starforge PC. They'll give you a name to it. They have different names. They have different, SKUs, like this one here called the Navigator series. If we were to go ahead and look at its, specifications, and depending on what we want to do we want to play 1440 and all of the above, we'll see things like the Ryzen 5 7600X. You'll see, your GPU, an RTX 5070, 12 gigs. The case is a Fantex. These guys aren't even using their own case. They're using Fantex and Fantex fans. The power supply is an MSI Mag A750. I mean, these guys are more transparent, but I will never say that this is this is not a Starforge PC. So you see what I've been doing, right? I've been opening and unveiling every single standard to ensure that people can't run. You see, once you walk into this argument, please be aware that the doors lock behind you until you can solve the puzzle, and then the other door will open. That's what we're doing right here. So right now, you've actually made your way in here. So now you got to unlock this particular puzzle to figure this out. Two comments come to mind. Shout out to DJ Capel 86. You said you got an Xbox Ally X, and you can't say it's an Xbox. Now, I have to ask and say, what is your hesitation in calling it an Xbox? Is there something that the hardware has done, or is it that you don't believe it's an Xbox? I can understand if you say I don't believe it's an Xbox. That's a fair assessment. However, what you believe and what is could be at odds with each other. Not saying that they are, but let me kind of point you to the evidence, and you can draw your conclusion. Another audience member, and this all relates, please bear with me, said to me that in my videos, I'm trying to reinvent the wheel, or at least believe all this BS marketing campaign. What's funny is I always advocated for console gamers to move to PC. The problem everybody is actually throwing my way is that now a console maker is making a PC like Starforge did, and nobody complained. And so now I'm the one that's reinventing the wheel with a BS marketing campaign from the company who went to a hardware maker and said, hey, man, why don't we, or actually it was Asus that went to Xbox. I don't know if you guys know that. Did you guys know that? A lot of people will not watch the video. You will present a video to them. They won't watch it. Some of them are YouTubers. Some of them, they're pretty much out there telling people stuff on podcasts, and they won't listen to Asus. They say they don't care about what Xbox has to say, but when Asus is like, oh yeah, they close their ears as well. And so that's exactly the problem we're having. So H. Wardable, shout out to you. But the problem that we're having, you and I, is that you keep claiming that I'm doing something that has already been done for decades. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're just sitting over here arguing over something that I'm literally sitting and asking you, so who are you arguing against? If you want to argue, you have to argue against Dell, against HP, and all these people. The other comment here says, isn't it a handheld PC? And I said, yeah, and we know it is. You said when, you get this thing out of the box, you have to update Windows, update drivers, get or create an ASUS account, download the drivers just to make sure the fingerprint scanner works. You don't have to do all that. But yes, I mean, everybody gets it. It doesn't play Xbox games natively. It plays Xbox games natively. DJ Capel, you're an Xbox guy, aren't you? Have you never seen Xbox PC games before? Because you said it does play the PC version of Xbox Play Anywhere titles. No. Not just that. There are Xbox PC games that are not Play Anywhere. Have you ever seen a game like that before, sir? This game called PAX Day. PAX Day doesn't have a console version. Did you know that? So let me go ahead and again, I understand what you're trying to say, but if I go to Xbox and I show you PAX Day on their store page, right? It says buy for $29.99. When you open it up, it's an MMO, and you know Xbox always tells you what games are playable where, right? Look, it says play with PC, and I'm not just showing you that on the app. I'm showing you that on their website where they actually give you all the information. Do you see it? It's not a Play Anywhere title. So when you're saying Play Anywhere and all that stuff, in fact, the Play Anywhere should be the indicator that this thing is actually an Xbox game. You said I have the ROG Xbox Ally X, and being an owner, I can't say this is an Xbox. It doesn't matter what you can't or can say. What matters is actually what is. It's a handheld PC. Yes, it is a handheld PC. Here's where you now have to come to terms with the reality. And that reality is, it is an Xbox handheld PC. Just like this user of mine, this audience member of mine said, to me, that words hold meaning. No company can change said meaning without being deceptive. This is absolutely crazy that a company cannot brand an item that they were involved making. Do you all know what property rights actually even mean? Like, I've got to tell you, they've done such a wonderful job marketing the consoles to a lot of people that they somehow think that Xbox has no right. And I've said this before. You are proving exactly that point. Many of you are coming with the premise that Xbox has no right to make something that is outside of the console. And the truth is you're mistaken, because not only have they made one, they've delivered it to the market, and it's actually selling and in the hands of people. In fact, the craziest thing that I saw, and I'm sure you guys, you're yelling about marketing, but what you don't realize is, and this is not saying that you guys are doing this, is that Xbox has snuck around PlayStation in every metric, every single metric that you can pretty much keep your hands on. It's wild, because what they've done now is overnight they've captured a user base that ideally they would never have been able to capture had they been selling those locked boxes and those locked devices. But with the abandonment of the limited access devices, what do we have? Tell me. You have an Xbox that has pretty much made strides that PlayStation could never believe. And so this user comes out and says a console is determined by such by the software. No, that's not the case. You see, this is how I know that a lot of people are basically now in the depths of the ocean, where it's not humanly possible to swim anymore without having the right gear and the right knowledge. And in this particular case, knowing what you're talking about is very critical. You said if the platform isn't locked down to a single ecosystem, then it's a PC. Right there, Zero Sam stopped you and said, cough, cough, Apple Macs are locked down PCs. Again, you are trying to redefine what we've already always known. You now, the console gamer, what's going on is your world is being rocked. Yes. You've always thought that locking the access was what made the console, not realizing that locking the access was so that they could upsell you and make you believe that, you're pretty much, in Kansas or whatever it is Wizard of Oz actually tries to do. You said, I have the Xbox app on my desktop. It's not magically an Xbox. No. Your desktop is the computer that was made and branded, or the units, the pieces together that were made and branded by the manufacturer, or if you built it, your own PC, it's your PC. You can put your name on it and slap your name on everything and say, this is like the Turk does, the Turk box. I can literally build a PC and slap a sticker on it, bam, and say this is the VG box. And it will be my own branded gaming PC as long as I have the trademark and the rights and all of the above. You said it doesn't need to be. It's okay for Microsoft to pivot full on PC gaming. It keeps costs low in development, ensures you get it at third party default. But again, your original premise is off. That's it. Because again, like I just showed you, every other company that's been making gaming PCs, gaming components, have been doing so. And even their own, how do I put it? Their own impact in this particular case doesn't even need to be predicated on them making any of the components. Like Starforge Systems, they call this the Navigator. It's their brand. They've branded it. They've bought the components. The owners of those components don't care as long as they're pretty much using. Now, I won't be surprised. Does Fantex own this company? Because they seem to be using a lot of Fantex pieces. It could be. But if you look at their RAM, this is very funny. Their RAM is Newegg RAM, T4s. It says Team Group Delta RGB. That's like Newegg's own RAM. Like, it's so insane. Bro, a lot of console gamers, you understand what's going on is a lot of what you've been sold is like, so you running at this particular thing is like a wave crashing on a rock, right? You're just crashing on that rock over and over again. Actually, it's not even a good analogy, but you can understand. It's like, almost an exercise, basically an exercise in futility to try to change what's already been established. It's not going to conform to your own preferences. Don't worry. It's just a wake-up call. That's all it is. But you'll be fine. Thanks for watching. Peace out.